I don't pretend to know. I'm not an expert. There's something I do. By the grace of God, I get invited to a lot of places to speak. Anyway, you invite me. If it's one person, I will go. If there's nobody, I will go. If it's 1,000 people, I will go. Okay, so when I get invited to places to speak, 9 times out of 10, my bio is one sentence. Because it is never about me. You see me, I'm an empty person. All I pray to be is a funnel. Lord, pour it through me. Whether it is a secular meeting, a Christian meeting, no affiliation, no definition meeting, all I want to be is a funnel. Just pour it through me. Give it to the people. Let me just go to one side and rest. If there's any oil remaining inside, let me lick that one. If there's not, back on me, as you say, up now. Okay, so I have come here today not as an expert, but as a funnel. And there's a scripture in the Bible, I don't think many people know it, but there's one scripture somewhere in the Bible, one verse of the Bible that says, in his presence there is fullness of joy, at his right hand there are pleasures evermore. That's my favorite scripture in the Bible. It's somewhere in Psalms. I know not many people know it. I laugh a lot. I joke a lot. Because truly the joy of the Lord is always my strength. Okay, so sometimes I need somebody to put me back on the straight and narrow and say, see, face what you are here to do. I've been married for about, 20-something years, somewhere between 20 and 30, somewhere in there. I have 5 children, 3 sons and 2 daughters. God has been good to me. I've been privileged to do a lot of things, see a lot of things, hear a lot of things. But the essence of who I am is storytelling. That one is not based on academic qualifications, it's not based on what I know. I'm just a storyteller. And by the grace of God, I recognize it for what it is, a gift. Okay? So I'm going to talk about tackling big issues through storytelling. The title is bigger than what I'm going to talk about. In essence, I'm just going to tell you people about why and how I tell big stories. What big stories are or big issues are, I'm not quite sure. You can define as we go along. Alright, so the power of the story. Okay, we're looking at different examples of stories. The African example. Who grew up here as an African? I see a lot of young people in the room. It's making me feel intimidated. Who grew up as an African? You grew up as an African, maybe you grew up in a village. Pastor Stokes, put down your hand. You grew up in a village. Okay, like 2.5 people. That's fine, on behalf. 2 of you. If you grew up in a typical African setting, whether in a small city like some of us grew up in, or in a real village, like some of us also experienced through visits and all, you will have noticed that Africans have a penchant for telling stories. We tell stories. They gather you and then they say to you that if you eat snail when you are pregnant, your baby is going to drool. It's going to have a lot of spittle and all of that. They tell all kinds of stories and people sit down, they listen to these stories and they believe them. Okay, so you see a lot of that going on, you hear a lot of that, you hear the stories of the tortoise and the rabbit and the this and the that. Some of these stories in different communities that have no relationship, no affiliation, are exactly the same word for word. And you begin to wonder, how is it possible? How is it possible that a story is exactly the same in Oyo as it is in Nnewi somewhere? How is it the same? How is it that a story that you have been hearing all your life, in Sokoto, you go to Ghana and you hear the exact same story? I have a friend in Canada, incidentally, her name is Elsie as well. She began to tell me some of the stories she grew up hearing in Kumasi. And it was like she was talking about the stories I grew up hearing in my village many years ago. And I'm like, how is that even possible? How is it possible? So Africans have been telling stories for a very, very long time. It is how we have passed our history, our traditions, our customs, our culture from one generation to another. Okay, then now we go to the Pastor Stokes village, the European example. You know, I don't know how many of you growing up read books by Enid Blyton and people like that, Shakespeare, you know, those stories. Those were stories. Those were their ways of using stories to tackle the issues they were facing at that time. I had, as a child, I had a library of books by, we had this boxed set of books by Uncle Arthur. They call them Uncle Arthur's bedtime stories. We had them in a boxed set. Incidentally, they were the first stories that introduced me to Jesus Christ as a child, for myself. I grew up in a Christian home, but it was through those books I knew that a child would have a relationship with Jesus Christ. Anyhow, so those stories, they talked about things like that, and then you have stories that talked about fairies and things and all those funny things that are not real to us, but well, we read them and enjoy them anyway. So storytelling is not, that tells you it's not limited to the African. It's not limited to the European. I was in the Philippines earlier this year, and I was talking with somebody who is a writer. And she was saying, oh, we have some of these stories in my country. We must do something together. We must work on a story. So we're working on a project where we do Filipino and African stories together in one anthology. We're working on it now. I pray it works out. So everywhere you go, whether you go to America or you go to Asia, everywhere there are stories. Okay? And then how about the Bible way? The Bible is a book of history. Let me define history. History simply means his story. That's what it is. His story. The story of God. The story of Jesus Christ. Not the story, well, maybe the story of Christianity, the history of Christianity. I wrote something, I said, God is not a Christian. And somebody took me to task. Now, how can you say that? I said, God is not a Christian. He's the judge of all the earth. He's not a Christian. He's not even a Jew. Jesus Christ was a Jew, but God is not a Jew. Jesus Christ was not a Christian. Don't stone me, it's the Bible. Alright? So how about the Bible way? Is this where we are? Okay, now let me say something about this slide. Somebody did it. Somebody who lives in my head did it. I don't know when they did it. I don't know what they did. So listen to me, don't listen to the slide. So now there's the Bible way. The entire Bible, all 66 books, is a collection of stories. One story after another, after another, after another. And the Bible has tackled some of the biggest stories you can ever think of. Some of the biggest issues you can ever think of. Alright? Barrenness. The Bible started tackling it since long ago. Brought Abraham, brought Sarah. This one, written off. This one, written off. Imagine a man and a woman with medical issues. What kind of child did they have? That's a major story of barrenness. And they broke that barrier. Imagine somebody who killed and killed and killed and killed, and then God said, this person is after my own heart. Those are stories that should not even make sense. Imagine a man who, a murderer, at 80 years of age, he goes with one stick, and then he goes somewhere and he says, you know what, President Buhari, you know what, I want you to release all the people in prison because I'm taking them somewhere. Those are incredible stories that the Bible has laid before us as examples. Okay, so some of the best and the biggest stories are stories from the Bible. Okay? Oh, you jumped and went back. Okay, let's go to, okay, leave it here. Well, are we fine? Are we good? Okay, anyway, wherever I see you, I will follow you. Alright. So Jesus Christ as the greatest storyteller of all. Have you ever wondered why our Lord used so many parables in his teachings? I call this a moment. I borrowed this from Pastor Brooks. Think about it. Why did he use so many parables? He was God. Why did he have to? Why couldn't he just say as it is? Why didn't he just hit our head over it and say, see, this is it, this is whatever. Just handle it like this. Why did he have to tell stories? Why did he have to tell stories and say, one woman did this, this one happened, and that one happened? As if it was going around now. In fact, some of them wonder, did it really happen? Like the story of the Good Samaritan. People have said, oh, it was Jesus Christ that was the Good Samaritan. Some have said, no, it was another person. Some say, it didn't even happen. Why did he have to do that? Okay? The first thing is that parables or stories help to make big issues seem lighter. They help to make big issues seem lighter. When you are telling a story, you are creating an environment, you are creating an atmosphere. And you bring your story into that atmosphere that you have created. You are in control of that environment. You determine what is happening there. So even if it is a huge issue, even if it is a major debate, because it is in that environment, it is lighter, it's smaller, it's easier to handle, it's easier to tackle. It's less emotionally stressful or more emotionally uplifting, depending on the story that you want to tackle. Okay? For instance, if I were to write a story about prostitution and Benin land, I know that if I just said it like that, it could be offensive to a lot of people. But there's a way I will bring that, situate it in the context of a story, and it will be much more acceptable to a lot of people. Okay? So that's what stories do. Okay? And sometimes if the matter is too light, you situate it in a story to show that, see, this thing isn't as simple as you think it is. Okay? It has the potential to cause a lot of damage. Last year I did a series on Facebook. You know, if you remember, there was a time they were talking about war, the Igbos. It was about a year ago. They were looking for Nnamdi Kanu, or this had happened. They were saying, no, Biafra this, Biafra that. And then I started a series of articles. I titled them, Why We Cannot Afford a War. I think it was up to 5 or 6 or 7 parts, I don't know. Most of you are not my friends on Facebook. You have seen it then. Those articles went so far and so wide, I was shocked when somebody told me that, oh, I saw your article on a forum on Facebook and people were fighting over it. And I was like, I don't know those people. They said, yeah, somebody shared it to somebody who shared it to somebody who shared it to somebody who shared it to somebody. Now, because I was going to talk about something that was very sensitive, people were reacting in all kinds of ways. What I did was that I told a story every time before I wrote about what I was going to do. I shared stories about when I traveled to Maiduguri and how I traveled to Abidjan and blah, blah, blah. That was when I was going to talk about refugees. Because I worked in International Red Cross for 7 years. I know war. I know fight. I know trouble. I know refugees. I know those things. This one, I'm not boasting. I'm an expert in war and its consequences, its emotional and physical and economic implications on countries and stuff. So I was going to talk about refugees, but if I had said that, if we do refugees, this will happen, it would be too hard. It would not be taken properly. It would not make the right impact. So I tried to link the distance, the size of our country to the size of our neighbors. And I used it to illustrate why we cannot afford a war, because our neighbors cannot handle a refugee situation. You know, so for everyone, I talked about, I will bring out a little story and then I will bring the matter in, okay? That made it easy for people to situate what I was trying to say in context and to see it. So those are some of the things that stories could do for you. Stories draw us in and help us to become one with the issues, just like we already said, okay? Example, the woman caught in adultery. The woman, they brought the woman to Jesus Christ and said, look at this woman. She's an ashawo. We saw it. See, Master, it was as the thing was happening that we saw her. This is not a question of truth, fact, fiction, or perception. It was happening. It was happening. This is both a truth and a fact plus perception. There's no fiction in it. So, Master, what are you going to do? Do you understand? And then, what was the reaction of Jesus Christ? So there's a whole big lesson there in the very simple story that he told. What was the story? He said, whichever one of you is without sin, cast the first stone. It's a one-sentence story. But you can take that and write a whole book on it. On how not to be judgmental, how to judge ourselves, on why our perceptions may not really be the reality, on how to show compassion, how to show empathy, how to deal with sinners or criminals, if you like, because at that point she was a criminal. So there's a whole story that he put in just one sentence, just one little thing. He brought this thing down and just put it in that thing, and then he ignored them. He allowed them to think about it. And at the end of the day, the story had the effect that it had, and it is still having that effect on us till today. Okay? Another example is the parable of the Good Samaritan, which I already talked about. The story of the Good Samaritan, laws have been built on it. Laws have been built based on the story of the Good Samaritan. Okay, but it was a story, and then we're wondering, was it truth? Was it fact? Was it fiction? Was it perception? What was it actually talking about? Okay, so those are some of the powers of a story. That's what a story can do. That's what a good story or a good storyteller can do. Okay, now let's go back to intentions. Okay, what is the intention? What is your intention? Jesus Christ said, which of you intending to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost? As a storyteller, I'm using storyteller loosely. If you're any kind of writer, whether you're writing songs or whatever, you are telling stories. Okay? Jesus Christ said, you as a storyteller, before you even start, why are you telling stories? Why are you doing what you're doing? You say, I'm sure if I ask anybody in this room, what are you? The first thing they will say to me is, I'm a writer. Why are you a writer? Why? You know how they say when the use of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. You know this microphone, have you been to fora where it's not talking properly? Somebody is hitting it and then it's doing boop, 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 boop. Have you heard that? Do you know that it is wrong? We're abusing the thing. If it's not working properly, you should do hello, and then you blow. Alright, but when you don't know what it's used for, you will hit it, you will use it in the wrong way. When you do not understand your scribal calling, when you do not understand the gift that God has deposited in you, you are going to use it the wrong way. So first you must ask yourself, what is my intention? And honestly, none of this thing is wrong. Why am I telling stories? Okay? Are you telling stories because you want to make money? It's not wrong. Some people, that's why they write. I remember about 11 years ago, I was discussing with Author House, and they asked me a question. They said, do they teach writing in your schools? Because a lot of Nigerians all of a sudden are writing. And I laughed. I'm like, I didn't say this to them, but I'm like, this must be like the pure water story. You know when pure water came out, a lot of people started doing pure water because they thought this is the road to my millions. So are you writing stories because you want to make money? Okay, like I said, none of it is wrong. Are you writing stories because you want to be famous? You want fame and recognition. You want to be the next Wale Soyinka. You want to be Chinua Achebe, and now you want to be Chimamanda Adichie. Why are you writing? Okay. Are you writing stories because you want to bring social change? And this is where our topic is centered on. Do you want to bring social change? If Wale Soyinka writes anything right now, the thing will cause social change. So is that why you are writing? You must know. Are you writing for all of this and more? Are you writing just because you want to express yourself? It's allowed, it's your gift, it's the way you want to use it. But you must identify and be comfortable with why you are doing it at all. Otherwise you are going to abuse it. Otherwise you will not use it for the purpose for which the gift has been given. We have the minor prophets and the major prophets. Sometimes I think that some of the minor prophets should actually be major prophets. Because there were minor prophets who treated major issues. So they are not minor based on their message. Maybe they are minor based on the length of it, I don't know. Somebody like Habakkuk. Just that verse in Habakkuk 2, from 2 to 4, that should be major on its own. That should have qualified him to be a major prophet. Alright? Last year I was dealing with a lot of things. And one scripture kept me all through the year. Isaiah 45, 2 and 3. It says, I will go before you. I will go before you. I will make the crooked places straight. And wherever I went to last year, that was what I was using. When Isaiah wrote it, I wasn't born. There was a time my kids and I were, when they were younger, whenever we were growing up, we used to do this thing. We tell stories in the car, we do a lot of things, and we were sharing about something, and we were asking questions. And somebody asked a question about Moses. My daughter then was maybe like 4. She was like 4, so. And she said, thank God I wasn't even born by then. So this question doesn't apply to me. they asked a difficult question about Moses. For her, thank God I wasn't even born by then. You know. So, I mean, for her, I was like, you who are older, you who were born in the time of Moses, me, I wasn't born. So, once you will encounter things that were written long before you were born, and you write things that will be used long after you are no longer here. Okay? So let's talk about social change. And this is where I'm going to tell my story. Okay? What's this like? My big story. How it began. I started writing when I was 12 years old. And the reason why I started writing was not because I had a gift or I wanted to be something or anything. I had started reading very early. I'm not sure I remember what the first book was that I read, but the first one that I remember is one book, African Writers. My father had a huge library of his time. The title of the book was Not Even God is Wise Enough. That was the title of the book. It was a collection of stories. And one of the stories in it was Not Even God is Wise Enough to Catch a Woman in Love. So that became the title of the book. That was the first book I remember reading. And then I read Wole Soyinka's The Man Died. I'm telling you, when I was like 8 years old. Some of you used The Man Died in the university. Yeah, I read it. And that book nearly killed me. Because I had no idea what the man was talking about. I've never gone back to read it, by the way. I've tried. I've never gone back. So I started writing when I was like 11, 12. Maybe a little younger, I'm not too sure. But I remember clearly that about that time, I had read so much. I was a member of the library in my city. Reading was my thing. I was passing through a phase where I was spending some time with relatives, and there was an abusive situation. It wasn't an ideal situation. So I was lonely. I was missing my parents. I was hurting, and I didn't have any way of expressing my thoughts and my feelings. I couldn't talk in school. I found the things I was dealing with to be too embarrassing. I couldn't talk to the people I was living with. They were the ones doing the abuse, so I couldn't talk to them. So I started to write my thoughts. I started to journal as a way of expressing what I was feeling. And going from there, I started to, because I had an active imagination based on what I had read, all the things I was reading, I started to write my own stories. Okay, I would write about the talking yam, some kinds of funny stuff. I would write songs, I would write verses, I would write things. So that was when I started writing. Now from then until I became a journalist and I learned journalism and I did all of that, I wrote a lot of things professionally. All of that happened, okay? Because you see, everything that happens in your life is building you up to your big moments. Everything, especially if you're a writer, everything is useful. Everything is important, no matter how off it seems. So all of that was happening, building up in me. And as I was growing older, the ball of fire on my inside was getting bigger. It was getting bigger. Until one day, now this particular book is not my first, my second, my third, or even my fourth story. One day in 2008, I was sleeping and I had a dream. And I started telling the story of the dream. And I titled up the book and everything. So when I woke up, it had happened to me with another book, with Speaking Donkey. The first book I did for children. The first published book I did for children. So I recognized it for what it was. I said, oh, this is a story. So when I woke up, I wrote it down. The title at that time was The Soldier and the Maiden. That was the title. And I was sure it was a romance story. So I wrote it down. I'd written another romance story, Beach Bomb. So I wrote this Soldier and the Maiden, I wrote it down, and then I started adding a few things, and I shared it with my husband and a friend, and I was like, oh, that would be a very good story. And my husband said, see, why don't you do research, all these things that are happening now around the Niger Delta, so that, because I told him, this is it. One thing I knew from the beginning was where the story was situated and what it was about. Okay, but I thought it was going to be a romance story. So I started doing research. I'm talking 2008, 10 years ago. And at that time was when you had a lot of militancy, a lot of killings in the Niger Delta, a lot of things going on. So the newspapers were awash with information and all. And I would read and read and read and do all of that. But try as I could, the story wasn't going very far. Every time I lay down, I saw the entire story. But for one reason or the other, I just wasn't writing as much as I should, or I wanted to, or I don't know, the story wasn't growing. And I still can't tell you I know why it was not growing. At some point I said, okay, you know what, let's put this idea in the background. I know the story, it lives with me, it's on my inside, but hey, maybe someday it will come out. So I just put it aside. And then I wrote other stories and other books and other ideas and everything and blah, 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 blah. And then 2 years ago, 2016, I turned 50 in 2016. And a lot of things were supposed to happen in that 2016, which didn't happen. It's still fine. I heard clearly the Spirit of God say to me, it's time to return to that book. So I returned to it, and I started working on it. And I wrote the first 9 chapters without stopping. And I knew that yes, this book has come. And then again, I heard the title cannot be the soldier and the living, because now it has gone so far from being the soldier and the living that the title would be totally misleading. So I started to agonize. I said, okay, so what's the title going to be? Because usually I'm one of those crazy people. I write from title to story. I get the title and then the story builds around it. Okay? So if the idea is coming, if I'm going to write about bottled water, for instance, I will have something like the bottled water that was standing, and then the rest of it will come. So I'm like, okay, so now here I am in chapter 9, and you're telling me it's not the soldier and the living. So what is it? So I started to brainstorm. First was only my brain that was coming. And then I asked my kids, okay, what are we going to do? So a lot of things were suggested, but none of it was sitting with me. Yes, the microphone. Okay, I'm actually debating whether I should do this one or this one. You see what happens? Pardon me, I told you I was sleeping. If I fall down now, it's not the water, it is the sleep. So finally, I got God is not here. No, it didn't start with God is not here. The place where God is not. Something like that, something very awkward. And then I distilled it down to God is not here. And I said, oh, God is not here sounds somehow. But the minute I said it, everyone in my house was like, no, Mommy, that's the title of the book. God is not here. And I now realized that there was a movie my kids had seen, and I had seen. I really tend to watch when they were younger, watch their movies before they watch them. And there's a movie titled, God is Not Dead. So I was like, if I use God is not here, people are going to think that it is because of that movie. Now, if there's one thing I fear more than anything else, it's being labeled a copycat. I fear it. That's why I don't understand plagiarism. I don't understand how you can actually take somebody else's work and you say, this is my work. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. What that means is that, sorry, I'm digressing, but what that means is that you are not a writer. You are not called to write. As a writer, you are called to copy. And there's a difference. You must understand. If your ministry is the copying ministry, don't call it the scramble ministry. Don't go on Facebook and take what other people have written. It's been done to me so many times that I have stopped writing on Facebook. I write an article, somebody takes it. It is my article, and they put it on their wall as my article. In fact, somebody copied to the point that they copied my name. No, I'm serious. It's not even funny. You know, usually when I would write, I would hashtag it. Now, my name on Twitter and Instagram is Born to Write Well. This person took my story idea, okay, did it, and then she hashtagged her own Born to Write. So usually I would end my story or my whatever by saying I was born to write well. And then she would write, I was born to write. And then she would wait. I would post one article, and then she would post similar article. I was serialing one of my books. I titled The Warri Chronicles, because I stayed those painful years I was talking about, I was living in Warri. And I was writing about the city in which I grew up. It's not fiction, it's just, bringing out aspects of the city. I was writing about hometowns. It's a book that it will come out whenever it will come out, but it's all done. And this person would take these stories and write about almost exactly the same thing, word for word, that I've written about this city in which she grew up. And then she will end it as, I was born to write. And I'm saying to myself, no, you were not born to write, you were born to copy. That's it. Okay, so how did I get here? Is this sleep? Let me tell you sleep. So I couldn't bear the thought of being labeled as somebody who copied God is not dead. But I tried. Honestly, men and brethren, I'm telling you, I tried to look for another title. And no other title was accepted. So I knew that, okay, this is from the Holy Spirit, so just accept it and leave it there. Okay, so I wrote it in 2016. And it was supposed to be a very big book. My writing mentor is Jerry Jenkins. And I sent the book to Jerry Jenkins for review. And by the time his review came back, I knew that rather than writing a 400-page book, I should write a 50 or 100-page book and just get my message across. I've been working on the script, the movie script for it, and it's a much bigger story. In fact, I'm shocked at where it started from. I'm shocked at it. That's the thing about writing. You're writing and you're like, hey, is this what this man looks like? You are the one who described him. You say, he's so beautiful. Or so I'm actually shocked at how much happened that is not captured. But that book came out at that time because it needed to come out of the inside of me. Okay, so now, why did I, even before I go to the twists and turns, why did I tackle that issue? First off, like I already said, it was not my issue. It was given to me in the dream. Okay, let me not be a copy. Let me give honor to whom honor is due. It was given to me in the dream. Alright? But the more I reflected on it, the more I realized that this is an issue for which I have a voice. I have an experience. I have a relationship with, and I can deal with. I knew that a lot had been written about it. In fact, earlier in the year, somebody challenged me. I think Oghenekaro or somebody, somebody who has won an award or something, were in the same forum, and it was like, why are you writing about the Niger Delta? Hasn't too much been written about it already? And I said, no, not enough has been written. No matter the subject, if God gives you an idea concerning that same subject, if 5 million people have written about it, please go ahead and write it. Because your voice is different. Your experience of that issue is different. Okay? The things you know about it, the way you will say it is different. So please don't say, oh, too many people have written about Ibadan, the rustic city. No, go ahead and write. It may be what you write that will bring something major. Alright? It may be what, if you look at the 4 Gospels, they're all writing about one person, one subject, Jesus Christ. But we'll read Matthew, we'll read Mark, we'll read John, and we see different aspects of the same person. In fact, even the first part of the book of Acts and Luke, we know, were written by the same person. So you see different aspects of the same story. Why didn't they say, no, Matthew has already written, let me not write? Who knows? Maybe Judas had an idea for a story about Jesus Christ. Maybe he would have written the best story about how Jesus handled his finances, and he never wrote it. And we never got to know. So if a story is given to you, please treat it and do the part of it that you have been given. Okay, let's talk about my twists and turns. We already talked about some of them. There were times when this story wouldn't move, no matter what I did, no matter how I tried. Those were twists for me. And then it turned from being a romance story to, I don't even know what to call it, an adventure story, whatever. There's some bit of adventure, there's a story of the Niger Delta in there, there's some bit of the military handling of the situation, the issues of intertribal marriage, just little bits and pieces inside of it, a very small, very tiny story. And at the end of the day, I stood back and I was asking myself, okay, where did all of these elements come from? How come they are all there? So for me, those were twists and those were unexpected things. What the people who know plenty people call plot twists. Those were things that were happening, and I was like a spectator. I was watching, I was observing, I was like, oh, okay, well, if this is how you want it to be, thank you, I have 10 minutes, I'll still shut up and come down, you know. So let's do it like this. Now, let's quickly talk about my pains and regrets. And I deliberately put this so that you will be on the lookout for them. That book is out there, but the editing is very poor. Now, if you know me well, I'm a very real person. I don't put on airs, okay? I know my height. I know my weight. I know my struggles, and I'm not ashamed of any of them. I know the things that I'm ashamed of, and I'm not ashamed of the things that I'm ashamed of, all right? So the book is poorly edited. And why is it poorly edited? Because at the time I did the story, it got to a point where I was fed up with the entire process, and I just wanted it out of me. So I sent it to an editor, and I was like, see, look through this book for me. And I was waiting, and it wasn't happening. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put this book out anyway. So if you pick the copy that is out now, there's something written at the top, special edition. Because when it is done, that particular edition, that same way, is never coming out again.